Season 27 is introducing an official new movement tech, what I think is perhaps the biggest map update ever, and some much needed legend updates, as well as a lot more that you're going to want to hear about, including a pretty mad R99 variant. And thank you so much to Respawn and EA for giving me the opportunity to see this season early. But let's start with Valk. I've talked about her so much over the last few days, but here are her official changes. Over on her jets, aka her VTOL, just her normal passive, it's getting a speed boost, and also this ability is now going to be able to recharge 3 times faster. So when you touch down on the ground, you will have your fuel back 3 times faster. Also, it does seem Respawn are adding a new dedicated button for passive movement abilities, so it seems now you're going to be able to spam jump on Valkyrie without deploying a jetpack if you don't want to. Over on Valkyrie's ultimate, Respawn are increasing the takeoff time, so you take off way faster from the ground, which is pretty solid. And over on her tactical missiles, Respawn are removing the self damage from it and also the height restriction. So now you'll be able to shoot missiles inside buildings without the worry of hitting yourself, which is going to make Valkyrie a lot better in higher pressure fights. Additionally, enemies hit by her missiles will be scanned, so she leans a bit more into that recon role, and also enemies hit by missiles will have their movement techs put on cooldown, so Ashe and Sparrow. Speaking of Ashe and Sparrow, I will touch on them later because they are getting indirect buffs with the movement tech button thing. Also, Valk is getting new upgrades. She's going to have an upgrade that gives her a bigger missile pattern, which is most likely what we saw in the Showdown trailer, where it was a 5x4 grid of missiles instead of the current 3x5. There's also going to be an upgrade that reduces her fuel consumption while moving horizontally, and also an upgrade that boosts her ult takeoff time even more. Respawn said their philosophy behind this is the fact that Valkyrie used to be so good when she came out due to her unique movement, but she's lost that power as the game has grown and new legends have come out. So they've modernized her jetpack to actually make it feel like a rival to the dash instead of just a worse version of the dash. Additionally, Respawn call the faster ult takeoff upgrade supersonic, so I really can't wait to see how fast this is. Also, the background gameplay is just for demonstration's sake, but the images shown on screen are from season 27. Moving on to Rampart, as teased, she is also going to be getting some changes, and one I could have never really expected. So Respawn are improving her amped cover and allowing the walls to gain health as your Evo level increases. So basically, to a degree, the wall health is going to correlate to your shield level. Also, the amped cover is seeing a new physical property change, and now it has a roof. Yes, what you're seeing is real, an amped cover with a roof. It looks quite cursed, but I guess because of the newer verticality of Apex, this is going to be a very useful addition. I do also believe that the amped wall is going to see a change that grants a speed boost when dealing damage from behind the wall. For Rampart's new upgrades, she's getting an upgrade that adds fast reloads, infinite ammo behind walls, and also wall regeneration outside of combat. Now, I do not have the full patch notes, but I feel like this wall right here looks bigger than the normal Rampart wall. Is that the case? I guess we'll have to wait for the actual full patch notes to see. Also, here Rampart is shooting a very funky looking Revenant. We will touch briefly upon the skins later. Respawn said with these Rampart upgrades, they wanted to change her from a static defender to a springboard to help her squad push. Now, you may think that's it for the legend updates, but in fact, there's a third legend receiving updates this season. And this time, it's for Horizon, and one of the major map updates this season is based on Horizon, so maybe we should have expected this. But over on Horizon, her tactical gravity lifts now have a shorter cooldown, and Respawn have made improvements to the lift speed of these lifts. Also, her ultimate, Dear Newton, now has more health, so it's going to be harder for enemies to shoot out. But honestly, in my opinion, it seems her new upgrades are where the juice is at for her update, as one of her upgrades is going to be Fast Fall, where you can crouch mid-air to fall faster, which I imagine is going to be a huge help to Horizons who want to get out of the air when they've accidentally revealed themselves too much with their gravity lift. She's also going to have an upgrade where she can glide out of gravity lifts, and also another upgrade that allows her to gain lift charges on knockdowns. So as far as I'm aware, essentially tack refresh upon knock. A lot of you already think Horizon's pretty powerful, and Respawn addressed that, saying Horizon has stayed powerful in the right hands, but nerfs left her feeling less exciting. Our goal was to give her more fun and movement based options while restoring a bit of the power that was taken away. Horizon reclaims her role as a master of verticality, with sharper, more fluid tools for both aerial dominance and quick re-engagement. By restoring her movement fantasy, we've made her a kit that's both fun and formidable. I really can't wait to give this update a try, but honestly, because she is a bit unorthodox, I can't wait to give Rampart a try. So this season's looking pretty fun on the legend changes. I will get over to the weapon changes I know right now later in this video, but first, a new, I would say, major hop-up is being introduced for the Alternator of all weapons. You may remember the Disruptor rounds days of the Alternator, and it seems it may return to that power level with its new locked hop-up, Double Tap. You may be aware that the Alternator has 2 barrels, and this hop-up is going to allow it to shoot 2 barrels at once, seemingly outputting a higher DPS. And as you can see from the screenshot here, it looks intimidating. I'm not sure if it's going to double the output of damage, I doubt it is, but it looks fun. Also, I believe this is a new Alternator skin, and a new Alter skin. The reason I think this hop-up is going to be a bit better than other hop-ups is because Respawn seemed pretty excited. They said, this double tap is unlike any other version we've done so far. The Alternator's double tap hop-up takes the speed and velocity to a whole new level by firing both shots at the exact same time. It's incredibly deadly at close range, and most importantly, incredibly fun. Honestly, I'm not sure if this is going to consume double the ammo and output double the damage, or if they're going to nerf the damage in some way, or maybe even increase the ammo. I really can't wait to see the exact details, and even just test this, because it sounds like a lot of fun. Although temporarily moving on from these balance changes, I think one of the biggest things this season, despite it being small, is the new movement update. We're all aware of super gliding, right? It looks pretty hard to do, and it is pretty hard to do. In fact, it took me hours and hours to even resemble consistency. So Respawn are deciding to add an official way to super glide. I'm not sure how this is going to be received, but to me, a casual, this seems really fun. This new system is going to be called mantle boosting, and essentially whenever you mantle over a wall, there is now a timing challenge. From my understanding, there's like a half-second animation that plays on your reticle whenever you climb over a wall, where it does this into the middle, and I do believe if you hit the new movement bind when this circle is close to finishing, you will mantle boost, aka super glide. It is my understanding from talking to Respawn that this new system is going to use a new customizable button that works as basically the movement tech button. It's going to work to activate the mantle jump, the ash dash, the sparrow double jump, the Valkyrie jetpack, and any other movement adjacent passive. I do believe this will be customizable. I don't know what button it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to replace a button, but the fact that the bar is being lowered, not majorly, but being lowered to allow people to super glide is cool in my opinion. I have been saying for a long time they should do something like this. And it's not like they're giving people a free super glide button, at least from what I've seen. It does seem like it does still take some time in. It's just a lot more visual now. I did ask Respawn if they added mantle boosting to lower the skill gap between people who know how to super glide, or if they just did it to add more fun to the game. And Respawn kind of said it's a mix of both, and that there's definitely a fun factor to it. And also, the Respawn developers apparently missed the mantle booster mechanic when they went from playing these test builds of future seasons to the normal build of Apex. I'm pretty excited for this. I know it's immediately going to see some backlash from the people who know how to super glide, but to me, especially as someone who suggested this exact thing in the past, I'm very excited. Next though, before we talk about the biggest map update I've ever seen, wildcard updates, and also the really cool new care package weapon, I have something to tell you guys. You may be aware, last season I got a creator code Grrt, and I've been plugging it a bit. It's pretty cool, and if you're not aware, essentially if you use my creator code on the EA web store, where you can buy Apex coins or battle passes for the PlayStation, the Xbox and PC, or on the EA app, in these boxes, I actually get a commission off of your purchase for essentially no extra cost to you. It's been fun while I've been doing it, and I'm just going to plug it again in case you want to buy any coins or battle passes for Season 27, because when you use my code, it genuinely helps. So I'm going to ask, if you use the EA app a lot and buy Apex coins, please use my code, it really helps. Or if you want to buy coins and you don't use the EA app, just use the Apex web store. The link's really easy, here it is, it will be in the description, and on checkout in this section, use code GRT. And now my code works for Battlefield 6, so if you're buying Battlefield 6 stuff from their site or the EA app, you can use my code as well, and between me and you, I get a bit of extra kickback from this. So honestly, if you want to support the channel, and trust me, the code is supporting the channel, it's great. It would really be nice if you could use my code, especially to stock up for Season 27, because there's a lot of cool stuff coming, which let's go talk about. Let's go to the Olympus updates, because they are massive. In fact, I think it may be the biggest map update ever, as pretty much half of the map is seeing changes. Yes, half. And we get a new map toy, which is a gravity lift. Respawn said they kind of realised that Olympus is fun to play in pubs and casual modes, but in competitive, it's pretty challenging. Mostly because on old Olympus, there were sizable amounts of the map that were just completely open areas and really hard to push through. So in this update, Respawn decided to target those places, and honestly, they've done it pretty well. But you may be asking, why is Olympus in a snowy area? Well, if you didn't see the teasers running up to this season, essentially, a second version of Olympus was found crashed on the planet Pagos. When it was found, Horizon actually went and helped the effort to repair this version of Olympus, which is why she has her own point of interest on this map. Of course, because this is a second version of Olympus, now the original Olympus has been dubbed Olympus Prime, while the Apex games have been moved onto this new version of Olympus, as they're worried what's going to happen to the old version. For Olympus though, let's get onto the vast map changes. First of all, Orbital Cannon is being replaced by a new point of interest called Summers University, which is a very large point of interest which is going to clear up pretty much all of the flaws that Orbital Cannon had. The major flaws of Orbital Cannon were that it had really high walls and open areas, so anybody holding these walls on Orbital Cannon were really annoying to fight. So Respawn got rid of those walls and replaced the whole area with this university campus. This university is Horizon's own university, which was built to honour the life and work of Horizon, and also to commemorate Newt. In fact, the middle part of this point of interest looks like Newt. This point of interest has a lot of cover and a load of separate buildings, meaning many squads can occupy this area at once, and also has vertical gravity lifts, which act exactly the same as Horizon's tactical. These can help you take new high ground without being too fast. Respawn said these are one-to-one with Horizon's gravity lift most of the time, and will follow her balance changes. As you can imagine, this point of interest is full of interactable Easter eggs, and it's going to be a fun one to explore. By the way, you know that point of interest called Elysium next to hydroponics? Well, it's now been moved and it's next to Summers University, so that is also there. This is going to be the ultimate place to third-party players in Summers University from. Moving on though, I would say an equally big change to Olympus has been the Energy Depot update. We all know Energy Depot as a bit of a risky place to cross through, and sometimes it can be a bit intimidating. Also, it is notoriously hard to land at because a lot of it is roofed. So, Respawn have decided to upgrade it, and it's now called Gravity Engine, which is a giant open area with loads of distinct places to land at. Landing zones are very clear compared to what Energy Depot used to be. Also, it has some pretty solid rotations into Turbine, towards Gardens, and also towards Rift, as well as towards Hammond Labs. Respawn have sorted out the rotations, and the rotation from Gravity Engine to Turbine actually goes through here, and it pops out in this already existing tunnel within Turbine. This is a good rotation. This is an absolutely ginormous point of interest, and the central area of it is very eye-catching, and I would imagine a lot of people are going to go and fight here. It's this modular building which is suspended over a sheer drop. This building is very vertical, and it's definitely going to be one of those buildings you do not want to meet Fade in. There's going to be some crazy fights in here. And also, if you fall off the map into the void, you won't die, but instead your jump pack will activate and shoot you back towards land, much like it does on some areas of Broken Moon. Honestly, this is going to be a big change, and it's definitely an improvement over Energy Depot. Moving over to docks though, it's been replaced by a new point of interest called Stabilizer, which is really awesome in my opinion. Respawn didn't like the oppressive high grounds and views that the old docks had, which if you look at screenshots, if you were on top of docks, you will be able to see everybody running up without cover. It was definitely a really hard place to push. So what Respawn have done is lowered the ground so it's all pretty level, added trenches, cover objects, and also snow around this new point of interest. And it even has some floating islands of land from when Olympus was lifted back up into the sky, meaning we now have real trees on Olympus. In this point of interest, there are a lot of separators and separate buildings, meaning once again many squads can occupy this area, and it's going to be a far less annoying endgame. And also, if you do want to push into or off this side area here, it's going to be a lot easier than original docks. In fact, this area is raised, so it might actually be an opportune place to take. Stabilizer is basically docks, but very, very improved. Also from this area, you get an absolutely beautiful view of the new skybox, which is snowy mountains. Seriously, did you ever think you would see snowy mountains from Olympus? Now, you may think this is it for the Olympus updates, but we're only getting started because the map has been majorly populated with smaller points of interest. For example, you know this hole between Eco Towers and the Phase Driver? Well, now in this hole, there's another modular building very similar to the one in Gravity Engine, which means the end games here will actually have some cover, because we all know end games in this area are absolute nightmares. Also, a lot of you may be aware of this small camp area between Oasis and Hydroponics. Well, now this has been massively improved and it's a lot bigger, with way more buildings and also a mini version of Dockyard, which was a point of interest that only lasted half a season on Olympus back in Season 7 before it was replaced with Fight Night. So once again, there's more places to land. Also, Hammond Labs and the waterfall next to it have seen drastic improvements. Now Respawn have added hills on both sides of the waterfalls, meaning if you want to push up to the waterfall, you no longer only have 5 options, the zip line or the 2 tracks off the side of the waterfall, but now there's a whole hill to push up with plenty of cover. This is going to make it a lot easier to push teams on waterfall, and also under these mountains, there's actually an explorable underground area with zip lines that can bring you up towards waterfall. Absolutely excellent. Additionally, if we go over to Eco Towers, Respawn have removed one of them. There are only 2 Eco Towers now. This one here on the right has been removed, and it's been replaced with buildings and also trenches, allowing a lot more of a dynamic fight and also less teams holding very annoying areas. Over to Rift, a change I wasn't expecting. Now the actual Rift, like the ball thing, has a building under it, meaning teams can now hold out under the ball where Rift is. This is going to be an excellent place to fight, and as well as the building, Respawn have put up some walls around it to add a lot of cover, so this is a new viable place to fight from. And also, the Rift won't suck you up as easy anymore. You have to take a gravity pad up to it, so don't worry about accidentally being sucked. Respawn have also majorly improved the rotation from Rift to Gardens, and now this area here, which was originally a bit of a hill of death, also I've had some annoying endgames here, has been replaced with a huge new point of interest, once again with buildings, with cover, and also cover from the people potentially camping on the top. And also this ramp that goes from Rift to Gardens has had some new cover added to it, in the form of giant concrete blocks, which will block bullets and anybody shooting down at you. Additionally, from what I've seen, it seems like Respawn have added way more rocks between Gardens and Lifeline's Clinic to make it a bit more of a manageable push, where you're not going to be running completely through the open. There's also a new building under the bridge that connects estates and turbine. Literally, there's just a building here now under the bridge. This is going to be, once again, another great place for endgames. Basically, in my head, every place I've ever had a bad endgame in on Olympus has now got extra cover, extra buildings, and extra places to play in. When I go ahead and highlight all of the areas that are receiving an update, no wonder this update took a year and a half. And trust me, I've seen it in gameplay, it's absolutely beautiful, it's mind-blowing, and it's vast. Olympus is definitely going to become a map people want to play in ranked. At least, I believe so. Additionally, with the release of the new Olympus update, this is also going to come to Wildcard with some changes, like more zip rails. I'm not sure if the Wildcard Olympus is going to release on season launch or from November the 18th, when the first event of the season starts. We will have to see. Speaking of that, Respawn did say there's going to be an event running from November the 18th until December the 16th, which is going to make changes to Wildcard. First of all, in Wildcard, the Mythic R99 is going to be a temporary weapon, and apparently it's going to shoot a missile swarm. I'm not sure about the exact details surrounding that, but I'm very open to trying that. Also, the Wildcards are very speed related, it seems. Respawn told us a few of the new Wildcard upgrades coming. One of them is Burning Rubber, which leaves a fire trail that burns enemies behind you, from what I understand, which seems pretty awesome. Also, there's going to be a wildcard called Extra Zippy, which refills shields and speed boosts you on zip lines and zip rails. Additionally, it seems one of the new wildcards, Eyes in the Sky, highlights enemies while you're airborne, and I think there's going to be another one called The Quick and the Dead that highlights enemies while you're on the ground. There's also going to be a wildcard called Get Up and Go, which grants you a speed burst after clutch revives, while there will also be another wildcard called Along for the Slide, which gives you faster and longer slides. Of course, this event is going to be a skin event as well, with skins for Horizon, Crypto, Sparrow, Mirage, and Catalyst, plus matching weapons for those skins, as well as a new universal, the Death Duet, which is a set of dual katanas. Originally, I thought the Mythic R99 that Respawn mentioned at the top was going to be one of the rewards in this event, but I guess that's just a limited time weapon, while the katanas are the actual heirloom from the event. So honestly, a Wildcard Olympus sounds amazing, and I can't wait to shoot an R99 that shoots missile swarms. I cannot even comprehend how that's possible. For the balancing of Season 27, I don't know much. I wasn't given exact patch notes, but Respawn did tell us there's going to be a Peacekeeper rebalance. Not a nerf, not a buff, but kind of a mix. It seems they've realized the issue is the damage of the Peacekeeper. So I think they're reducing the damage while giving it better handling. So they're probably going to semi-reverse the nerf where they did tank the handling of it a bit. Also, the triple take is coming out of the care package, and it's coming back to the ground with a faster fire rate. One of the developers did describe this as an effort to find the sweet spot between the shotgun and the sniper aspects of the triple take, and it's been replaced in the care package by the car. Yes, it's going in. And you may wonder how the car, a weapon where the gimmick is switching ammo types, is going to go into the care package. And Respawn have thought of that, and this is where it gets cool. Instead of swapping ammo, you can swap between two hop-ups, Disruptor or Hammer Point. And if you're not aware, Disruptor rounds deal more damage to shields, and Hammer Point deals more damage to flesh. That's going to be a really cool dynamic. I'm really impressed that Respawn thought that up. Over on amps, Respawn are nerfing Overflow Healer, they're nerfing the heal rate, and there may be more amp changes, I'm not entirely sure. Over on the Tridents, yes, the Tridents are getting balance changes. Because Olympus has seen some changes and Respawn have removed a lot of the Trident barriers, the Tridents are being treated with better handling this season. And I saw them in action for a tiny bit, and I can say they look silky smooth, and hopefully this change extends over to Storm Point. For the elite weapons, I did ask, and it seems there is no new elite weapon this season. I do believe the RE45 is staying, but Respawn say they are not permanent, but they're really enjoying their new ability to essentially express alternate reality versions of the weapons temporarily. So I'm really excited for what they do with elite weapons in the future, and hopefully we can see a mid-season elite weapon change. Hopefully Respawn. Also, ranked is seeing some changes. What I'm aware of right now is the POI loot across ranked on a whole is becoming a lot more harmonized, meaning there are still high tier loot areas, but on average the loot around the map is being leveled a bit, so all areas you land at are viable, which definitely makes sense because of the drop point mechanic that they added. Also, Respawn are adding a continue with squad option into ranked. I believe this is only ranked, although I would not be surprised if they extend this into pubs. So now if you find a ranked squad you like, you can just keep continuing into the next game with them and not have to go through the whole thing of sending them a friend request, getting them in the party and then re-readying up. The Battle Pass next season is looking pretty solid. It's definitely going to be very popular amongst certain types of people, as the reactive weapon is the Sentinel. From the pictures I have, it does seem like the reactive Sentinel is going to be in black for the first split of the Battle Pass, and it kind of reminds me of a guitar. It looks like it has guitar strings and like a guitar end. Really cool stuff. I like the design. I really want to see the reactive effects, although we can get a bit of an idea when comparing these two images. I believe this is it with no kills, and then this is it with multiple kills. So I think after you get kills with it, parts literally like drop off, because I don't see where they've gone otherwise. Also, let's address the elephant in the room. This Wattson Battle Pass skin is so cute. She literally has like a see-through sleeve where part of it's a really cool effect and you can see her arm inside the sleeve. I absolutely love that. I hope this is on the normal version of the Battle Pass and not the expensive version. Also, she has a kitty cat hat and her hair out. I really wish I was a Wattson main because these skins are absolutely amazing. Also, we have a Valkyrie skin. This is probably her best skin in my opinion, because usually her skins like feel really cluttered because of her jetpack, but here she looks pretty solid. I like the hair, I like how simple it is, and also those boots where the laces go really high. Absolutely awesome stuff. I do like the battle passes recently. I used to complain that the battle passes didn't feel worth it, especially after that season 21 change, but the skin quality has really been upped, and most of the time it feels like the battle pass skins are better than the event skins, which is good for me because I always buy the battle pass. I don't really buy the events. But honestly, season 27 is looking really fun. Mostly I'm really excited to get my hands on it and test these changes, because it's easy to read these changes out, but honestly it's hard to give a detailed explanation if I've not played them. I guess you should subscribe because I'm sure there'll be some gameplay eventually. Also, if you are buying any Apex coins for next season or even any Battlefield currency, do use code GRRT on the Apex web store, which works with PlayStation, Xbox and PC, or the EA app. Link to the Apex web store is in the pinned comment and description, and just subscribe because more stuff will be coming out.